Hoosier Nation, what's up? Jeff and Ben here. Hoosier Court, an Indiana basketball podcast. Winning edition again. Indiana wins 83-78 over Penn State to move to 17-11, 8-9 on the conference. Doesn't sound great, but there is a path to the NCAA tournament. There's 3 games left in the season. Indiana did what they needed to do on a night where they didn't have arguably their best player, Malik Reneau, after shoot-around fell ill. Probably the flu going around, which is going through my household as well. So I will be sleeping in this room tonight. Ben, what are your initial thoughts and takeaways of tonight's game?
Well, sure. I don't know about stat wise, but that's the best I think I've seen us shoot it all year. Really impressive from 3. I started to notice that we really like the corner 3, and I like it. Like Goody and Rice like the corner pocket 3, and I'm all for it if it actually goes in. Shoot the corner 3. I thought we spread the ball well with only one big man.
Optimism in the chat early. Paul says this team has the makings of something special in March. I can see them making a Final Four run when Reneau is healthy. Well, Paul, we'll just take the win tonight. Yeah, we may come back to that. You never know.
Paul's been drinking those high noons too, sure.
yeah, for sure. So, but thanks, Paul. I love the optimism. I really, really do.
Yeah.
I mean, Indiana shot 57% from the field. Has to be the best of the year. 67% from 3. I'm rounding up. It's 56.9 and 66.7, but whatever. But 60% from the free throw line. Miles Rice late.
Hey, I will give us credit for one thing. Late in the game, Galloway was in, but we did not look his way to pass him the ball, and I could not be prouder of that because. And did you see? The announcer said Carlisle said it was like hot in his hands. He was trying to get rid of it so bad to Goody, which was smart because Goody nailed his 2 free throws to ice the game, and we needed that. I don't know what's up with Mbako at the free throw line. He was 0 for 4 tonight.
Yeah, he didn't look comfortable. He got in a little bit of a groove there, and I mean, ultimately, Mbako's not going to be able to play late in the game because they can't rely on him defensively. That's fair. We've talked about that. But Mbako did have 13 points, and after struggling early, I called for them to sit him down, which they did, but then they brought him back. He caught some rhythm. He looks dejected over there on the sidelines late, but at the end of the day, we're winning. Like, we're not going to put you back in. Like, he just can't guard a chair right now, right? I mean, you see it.
He can't shift his body for whatever reason fast enough to guard people. And Penn State, Ace Baldwin, I think he was in college when we were in college. I mean, how old is he? And what was up with him? What was up with him in the crowd? Sure, the crowd was letting him have it. He gave it to him.
He had a couple threes early, which is not really in his game. And he's talking to the crowd, getting them up and whatever. And I don't have a problem with it. I mean, I don't know that F. Ace Baldwin needs to be the chant that we go with. I think we could come up with something a little bit better than that. But, Luke Goody hit some big free throws down the stretch. Miles Rice,
man,
that guy is up and down. He had some good moments, missed some free throws late. And then, the second half, it's the picture on Instagram. Trey Galloway, what a second half that guy had.
Man, he had some assists. His 3-point ball actually looked good for the first time I've seen in a while. He was making them nothing but net.
It's not wrong.
Hey, did you know how old Ace Baldwin is?
24.
24 years old. I mean, that's old for college.
Yeah. You saw the comment, Mbako plays straight up. He can't guard, won't bend his knees. If he bends down, looks like he's going to crack and break like a pencil. Yeah, stiff. He's stiff. We don't want that.
He needs to do some yoga and Pilates.
He does. Needs some more. There's a chat question that I'm going to save for a minute from Darren. that we'll go back to about Mbako and Ballo. But, Indiana got the win, right? They coming off the biggest win, maybe of Mike Woodson's, 4 years at Indiana, the one they had to have against Purdue on Sunday at home. You don't win that, you can pretty much fold it up. Could have been a letdown game tonight. It looked like for much of the game it was going to be. You didn't have Reneau. You could have rationalized it, right? All that stuff. But Indiana found a way to win. They hit some shots late. Defensively, they did just enough with, kind of a skeleton crew out there. I mean, you're not getting anything. Bryson Tucker doesn't play anymore. I don't know what the deal is there. I'm not saying I'm asking for him, but you can't tell me he can't give you better minutes than Langdon Hatton. I don't want to see Langdon Hatton out there. No offense to him. If his family members are listening or watching this, I'm sorry, but he has no place playing. I don't care that he's 6'10". I don't care. He's like nobody's guarding him. He's an absolute, like the stretches that he went in, we can't. We just can't do it. Play Mbako at the 5 and Goody and 3 guards. I would just do that. What do you say?
What about number 42, Sherm? You're telling me he can't give us 3 or 4 minutes over Hatton? Come on, son. That guy is 7 feet tall, long. All he's got to do is go stand out there like this. I mean,
yeah.
You're not for it.
Okay. I'm not for it. No, I would rather go small and just deal with it. So let's talk a little bit more about Trey Galloway, because in the first half he was really struggling. Trey had 6 turnovers. But think about this. He had a 1.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio because he had 9 assists. Now, Trey, I can live with 3, maybe 4, 6 turnovers too many, right? So let's work on that. But Trey Galloway was a dude. He played like a guy. Hey, I'm almost done at Assembly Hall. I'm going for my 3rd senior night, ceremony. But what'd you think about Trey Galloway in the second half?
Yeah, I haven't seen his 3 ball look like that all year, or actually all 7 years he's been here. Yep. It looks smooth. Now that top of the key jumper that he airballed at the I don't know.
It was the right shot. It was the right shot.
It was the right shot. He just somehow he missed the goal by about.
He had no legs. He didn't use his legs. It's I tell my 6-year-old son, use your legs. He didn't use them.
But my throw-your-chair moment was when Miles Rice actually threw that ball across court, and it could have got stolen 6 times, and it did get stolen. You know what I'm talking about? When he was throwing the ball to Baco.
Yeah. 3 guys could have stolen that ball.
Yeah.
That looked like Daniel Jones dropping back to pass for the New York Giants, just telegraphing it right over the middle. But be that as it may, Indiana, here we are, Ben. Here we are. And chat, we're going to get you. But 17-11, if there's anything we know.
It's 19 and 12.
Exactly. Right on the bubble, right. Squarely on the damn bubble.
Hey, I do think we need to give a shout out for Ballo. He had 20 and 12.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he played a pretty good game. And that center they had is pretty athletic.
That dude's good.
Yeah, he's pretty good. His name is Yannick Conan Dysenwinder or something.
Yeah. I'm sure that's not accurate. But we're going to go with that. So let's get to the chat here. I want to 250. So, before we do. So I was thinking about this. I didn't want to say it out loud. But going into tonight, Indiana has a road win at Penn State, right? It was at the Palestra, but counts as a road win. And Penn State was the 68th or 69th team in the net. And in order for that to count as a quad 1, they have to stay in the top 75. So by Indiana, winning, Penn State's not going to drop a bunch, losing a road game to a team higher than them, right? They lost a quad 1 game tonight. So Indiana actually did themselves a favor. The worst thing they could have done, honestly, was blow Penn State out, because Penn State would fall out of that quad 1 territory. So Indiana really needs, let's get into the weeds here. Indiana needs Penn State to win another game or 2 to help their metrics. As I'm just telling you that we got to keep that as a quad 1 win. And Indiana did. They won by 5. You look at it tomorrow, Penn State might move up a spot. I don't know. They probably won't drop a bunch. So it keeps that in quad 1. I don't know what Penn State's schedule is their last 2. They've only got 2 games left. So that's kind of a little nugget as you look at the NCAA tournament of what's going on. But you don't care much about your reaction. It seems like you don't care much about the metrics. Just win, right?
Yeah, just win. I mean, I think we're playing with house money at this point because our season sucked. I mean, I know it's a little direct, but I feel like we underachieved. Now we're coming up. We got nothing to lose. The coach is retiring at the end of the year. We're playing with house money. So I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's hey, it's they're in position to be in position, as John Rothstein says, right? They've got it Saturday night. People can sit down. Indiana has a legitimate case to be in the the NCAA tournament. They are going to be in the Big Ten. They've got a legitimate case to be in the NCAA tournament on, with 3 to go, right? And you've got, at Washington Saturday night, 6 p.m. Peacock. It's back on the Peacock.
We should win that game. Washington's terrible.
We have to win. Yeah. Like they have to win. And they're leaving tomorrow. They said they're going to Seattle tomorrow. So getting out there, get a day to kind of get off your feet, get your legs under you. It's a long trip to Seattle, and then they'll stay out there and obviously and play. They got to split. They have to. If you go 0-2 on the West Coast, you're done, right? Unless you win the Big Ten tournament, right? You have to put yourself in a position. Now, you win 2. Oregon, you never, like they're playing well right now, but you never really know with Oregon. Like they've lost games at home. They lost Nebraska at home. Like they're what, 9-8 in the Big Ten. So it's winnable. You've won at Michigan State. You've won at Ohio State. It's a winnable game, right? Both of those.
And then their last game's versus Ohio State.
What an opportunity that Indiana has in front of itself of what if you win 3 games? What if you go 2-0 on the road trip? All right, I'm getting greedy here, and then you beat Ohio State on Senior Day. Then you're talking about, 11-9 in the conference. Who knows where you end up in the conference tournament? You don't have to play as many games. Maybe you're talking about playing for seeding, for crying out loud. They win. If Indiana wins the next 3, they're in. They're in. I mean, you look. They were in tonight, and some like. If they win 3 more, they're in. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, I think if we win the next 3, we're in.
Even no matter what happens in the first round of the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
All right, let's and we're always going to talk about the coaching search on every episode from here until they name a coach. We will talk about it. I want to get.
I know you're going to hammer my boy Chris Beard.
We'll get to
We're
that.
getting hammered tonight at Auburn. Yeah, a lot of teams went at Auburn. Sure.
Hey, the most Woody ever lost by this year was 28. Beard lost by 30 tonight.
All I know is I went to the Auburn Indiana game last year and it was ugly.
Let's see here. We got a Xavier fan in there.
You got a Xavier fan?
Yeah. You guys are killing us, Xavier fans. Now we really have to beat Creighton this weekend. When will Indiana go back to choking like usual? That's a good one, Muskie Madness. Let's see. There's one from earlier from Paul. I want to go back to this. Hold on. Can't find it now. We'll come back to you, Paul. Don't worry about it. But it was about Mbako and Ballo. What did you think of the decision to start renewing Mbako? Seems as if Gerald might have been right from the last chat with them being punished, maybe for being. I mean, I think Ballo played because Reneau was sick, and I think Mbako, they have to have him. So I think Woodson's just hoping that he can, because he knows. I think Woodson knows, Ben. I want to get your thoughts on this. Woodson knows if he doesn't get Mbako off early, he's done. So having him come off the bench hasn't worked. So he's thinking, hey, maybe he hits a couple shots early. It didn't happen. But Mbako strikes me as somebody, if they don't get going early, because they're kind of go away.
Yeah. Mbako, he looks the part. His shot looks the part. And then you just watch him play and you're lost because sometimes he looks really good. Like his turnaround jumper can look good. His 3-ball. How about the drive he had where he went to the rack tonight? I mean, that was nice. But his defense, man, why can't he move his feet? He's like he's stuck in sand or something. I don't know.
Well, breaking news here behind me. Kentucky helps Indiana, beats Oklahoma 83-82. Huge for NCAA tournament implications because Oklahoma is right there with Indiana. So I don't root for Kentucky often, but thank you for that in the chat. The chat says, I mean, the chat, I don't even know what to think of it right now, but it's, yeah. Kentucky's really showing their class post game. I'll have to go back and watch this. I'll rewind it, but Kentucky beats Oklahoma. Oklahoma was just like right. I mean, that loss isn't going to hurt Oklahoma, but that is a huge help to Indiana. Ohio State is beating USC by maybe like 10. So it's looking like Ohio State will maybe stay right above us, but we play them head to head and we've already beaten them. So we have an opportunity to handle our own business. So we have one here in the chat. Can you explain what happens when you play through sickness? I've never heard of this. You miss a game because you're sick. It doesn't sit well with me. I mean,
I agree. I agree.
If you have the flu, you think you're going to go out there and be worth the shit? Come on.
Sherman, we were 21. We got sick. We weren't missing nothing. You would have been at sports with your flu. Let's just be honest.
I mean,
let's call it spade.
I mean, okay. So I can go drink whiskey or play 40 minutes on a 94-foot court in Division I basketball.
If we would have got challenged by Juice's team and you had the flu, you would have been out there. Let's just call spade a spade.
We don't know what happened. I'm just saying. I'm giving the guy a benefit of the doubt. People get sick and they can't do it. My thing is this: if Reneau's at 60%, is that worth him missing Washington? Maybe Woodson's thinking, "Hey, go home. We got to fly out tomorrow. Get off your feet. We're gonna win tonight," and they did. That's what I think he's thinking.
Hey, Reneau is better than Hatton at 5%.
I mean, you could have put me out there at center. I'd have been better than Langdon.
I want Parker James out there, my number 42. Tree.
That's Dallas James. Dallas James. All right. Well, I'm not getting into this. Nobody ever missed games for being single. I'm not doing that. So, chat, you can just kick rocks because this is our show here, and I'm controlling the chat. So we're not going to
chat. Hey, chat. I'm kind of with you on that one. 20 years ago, people didn't miss games for being sick. They didn't. But go ahead. They did.
So 20 years ago, you didn't have the fucking internet.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, not really. Not like you do today.
We had the internet when we were in college.
Yeah, but you were hardwired. I mean, hell, I got 8 screens, 600 megabytes running. I mean, back then we had it hardwired into the freaking Ethernet cable with an Apple computer with it weighed 50 pounds. Don't get me started. All right, Indiana. So,
hey, you
are they in? The chat brought it up. I'm just saying that's what's out there. That's what people want to talk about.
Hey, I rarely agree with the chat. But anyway, at the current moment, I think we're probably in. But I think we have to win 2 of the next 3.
I would agree.
And we can't lose to Washington. That would be a bad loss in your net rankings.
So looking at some, Mike Rhodes had some interesting comments post game about something being horse shit about the college. I don't know. I mean, people lose, they lose their mind, but hey, is what it is.
Hey, when was the last time you saw a referee throw a fan out?
LeBron James when he at the Pacer game.
In a college. In a college
I don't
game.
think any. I want to know who it was.
What that man said.
Could have been Gerald or Paul or anybody in this chat right now. I mean,
it could have been Darren Bree.
Harpoon Bakery. So we're off the rails here. It's 11:35 on a Wednesday night.
Hey, it's after dark.
It is. This is Hoosier Court After Dark. So if you're listening to the podcast one, let's get back on track here. Indiana, they got to go 2-1, and I think they can. I mean, it starts Saturday night.
Have to win Saturday night because that would be a bad loss.
You got to win Saturday night, and then you split 10-10 going to Indy. You're probably, if you do that, you're probably in the 8-9 game back against an Oregon or maybe an Illinois at that point. So, you're not going to have an opportunity for a bad loss. You get into a 10 seed range, you open yourself up to have to play the 15 seed. It's not going to help you much. It could hurt you. Yeah, just win. Just keep winning. Win 2 on the West Coast.
I'd rather play Oregon than Illinois. I didn't really like the way that one went.
No. No, that one didn't go well. So, all right, well, there's been some chatter since the last time we talked about the coaching search. And we won't get into that Bruce Pearl beat Chris Beard by 30 tonight, 30-piece nugget tonight, your boy.
Okay.
But hey, maybe Bruce Pearl wins it and goes to Indiana. Who knows? But I'm still coming back to McCollum. Mark Byington gets the win. All these guys are coaching against each other right now.
I don't know. I still want an SEC coach, but we'll see.
Yeah, the chat asked about Greg Doyle. I mean, I don't give a rat's ass what Greg Doyle thinks about the coaching search.
What's he say?
Well, Greg Doyle's been pushing like 4 different people. Then he's like Buzz Williams, and he's just trying to get clicks because like nobody cares what Greg Doyle thinks anymore. And he's burned so many bridges. But yeah, go out and look at his Twitter. He loves Matt. He glazes Matt Painter after the comments every night, like whatever. But it says Greg Doyle was going to push the new coach to bring Luke Brown from the portal. If you remember, Luke Brown was the kid from Indiana that led the state in scoring. That he's been to like 4 different schools, couldn't play dead in the Cowboy movie at the college level, has bounced around, and the guy just loves him because he scored like 4,000 points in Indiana high school basketball. So that's your little Greg Doyle story for the night. But is there anybody on the radar right now? Because I have someone that I think is moving up the rankings.
Okay. Don't even tell me Bill Self.
I think I've stunned you to silence. I may have lost your audio, but
no, I said don't tell me Bill Self.
There's somebody going right now that I think we've lost Ben. We've lost Ben, but that's okay. Going back into this, TJ Otzelberger, Jeff Goodman has said that he's somebody that we think is going to be moving up the charts here. I think Indiana and TJ Otzelberger is going to be somebody that is actually a legitimate candidate. Ben, your thoughts on TJ Otzelberger?
He seems like a pretty good coach. Can you hear me?
Stunned silence. He's saying a lot, but we can't hear him. But name. So let's go to the chat while Ben maybe works on his audio here for a second. He told me he can only do 20 minutes anyway, so maybe he just set a clock and he had to just head out. But TJ Otzelberger's, I think, an actual legitimate candidate for the job. I still think of McCollum, Mark Byington, Scott Drew. I mean, he's not having a great year at Baylor. Scott Drew's not having a great year. Is not, Bill Self, again, Kansas kind of flaming out. I'm just saying, like, there could be people out there that, want to, make this job and make the jump, right? Could you see a Scott Drew a Bill Self, somebody like that, a legend necessarily in their school, make a jump. I don't see it. I could see Drew more than Self. I just throw Self out there because a lot of people have talked about retirement for him. He said, no way, nothing like that. So, not something I think, but I do, Zach Osterman wrote an Indy Star today about, they ran some analytics on, coaches that Indiana might hire. And, there were several of those guys' names were in there. I do think a Ben McCollum makes some sense. I think if you're going to have a Ben McCollum, though, it needs to be, you need to have like a general manager type of situation that you bring in to get players. I think McCollum's a really nice coach. Going to go to the chat here, Ben, because we're still working on your audio.
Can you hear me now?
You may be cooked for the night on your audio, but
I'm out.
We'll catch Ben on Saturday's show. But yeah, in the chat here, Paul says TJ Otzelberger got ran out of UNLV. Might actually be true. Again, but he's having a lot of success at Iowa State. I lost a tough one last night, so we'll see. I think there's a lot of those there that we can do. Chris Quinn. I've never heard Chris Quinn's name mentioned, but Chris Quinn is a former Notre Dame player. I think coached with the Heat with Spoelstra. That'd be a head scratcher, but hey, maybe he'd be worth something. I don't know. Can you rank the current Power 5 openings? Indiana, Miami, Utah, Florida State. I mean, I think it's probably in that order. Miami's, I probably put Utah. I mean, if this was 98, 27 years ago, Utah would have been right there at the top. It's not much of a job anymore, but yeah, of those openings, North Carolina extended Hubert Davis 2 more years. So Indiana's going to be the premier job most likely open unless somebody retires and something else goes south. So, but I don't think anything moves on the coaching search anytime soon. Nothing's really going to happen there. I think it's, you look at some of the key dates that are going to be coming out. That whole like revenue sharing deal is, I think, it's supposed to be passing and everything in by April 7th. So if you sign an NIL contract before that, it doesn't take effect of that. So you get somebody in for a year. One thing I did see was the 2 recruits Indiana has committed, Sisley and the kid from Bosnia, whose name escaped me, have both confirmed they're still coming to Indiana. So they want to play at Indiana. They're not just a Mike Woodson recruit. They still want to come to Indiana. So the new coach that's coming in has got a couple of recruits already in the cupboard that, they'll still have to recruit them and make sure everything's cool there. But I think it's not leaving it bone dry. And then, Indiana's going to have to start to think about on this current roster, who do they want to stay and who can they get to stay, who maybe doesn't want to be here, right? Mackenzie Mbako, would a new coach do world wonder for him? Probably. Renew, I would be open to keeping Renew and Mbako with a new coach that's going to get to light a fire, but I don't want to see the Renew that's going to come out tonight and kind of half-ass it, and then you got to light a fire, and then, we don't have time for that. We got to go. So I think Goody's somebody that could come back for one more year. I'll be interested to see like a Gabe Cupps took a medical red shirt for the rest of the year, had meniscus surgery. Is that somebody that can have a bounce back and, be somebody that can give you 10, 12 minutes down the road? In the chat, Arkansas and Texas game overtime, 32. The overtime has taken 32 minutes. I'm actually going to pull that up here. That's another bubble game that really Arkansas and Texas are both in front of Indiana. And I think for the sake of the bubble teams would want Arkansas to win this one only because this would be a quad 1 road win for Texas. For Arkansas, this would be a quad 2. So I think you want Arkansas to win this game. And this is what you get. Hoosier Court After Dark. It's 11:45. Ben lost his audio. I'm having a high noon to put me to sleep. It's looking like Arkansas is probably going to win this game. It's looking like Ohio State's probably going to win this game. Indiana's got Washington coming up. And that's a game they absolutely cannot lose. They absolutely cannot lose. I believe it'd be a quad 2 type of situation. So we'll just see what happens. But, Indiana's got a 2-game West Coast road trip late. Most of the teams I like, West Coast road trips don't do them very well. So here's to hoping that Indiana finds its way on the West Coast. And hopefully, we got a little late breaking news actually before we sign off, because people were giving Malik Reneau a hard time. And he was taken to the hospital prior to the Penn State game. So for those that were wanting him to play through something, I'm assuming it was serious enough to go to the hospital. He probably couldn't have played tonight. So with that, congrats to Indiana, Trey Galloway, Umar Ballo, Miles Rice, incredible second halves. Indiana wins, keeps it alive, 17-11, 8-9 in the Big Ten. Gives you something to smile about at work tomorrow. Everybody have a good night, and we will talk to you on Saturday or Sunday after the Washington game.